Good morning, friends. As I mentioned, and as the flyers suggest, that we are going to talk about the art into the lesson plan. Now, talking about like today's the generation, to understand the Gen Z generation and provide a conducive environment for teaching learning process. It's not only teaching, actually, it is teaching learning process. So, to make sense, like we are going to talk about integration of art in lesson plan just to convert the classroom in a dynamic classroom. Because as we know, we are talking about the Gen Z generation and we need to provide a conducive environment for teaching learning process. We need to equip ourselves and understand their surrounding, their access to various resources, which actually they do not have any role to play. Like I think you are understanding what I'm pointing out at the screen time of the children, the mobiles 24 hours in the hand. So these innovations and inventions are not their contribution to the society, but they have got it as they have taken birth in this world. They have received from the day one the mobile and the screen. So, as a teacher, we have a great role to play. We need to refurbish, re-innovate, and ensure that the methods of teaching learning process are refurbished according to their requirements. So let's begin, friends, with the session. Like I have put a quote here to understand the generation we are dealing with. That is, the young generation of today is globally connected. Imagine when we were small, what kind of surroundings we used to get, what kind of reach we had in our days. It is totally different. They want to live in an equitable and efficient India. We have to be ready for this and work for this. So here goes to understand, like to understand the young generation today, there are certain things which we have to take care. Okay. So I have taken up one uh, theory which has been given by Howard Gardner. He says, he says that the kids today are born with multiple intelligences. So to understand this, we will talk about wait. Okay. So let's understand this, the intelligences which have been mentioned by Howard. He says that individual has multiple intelligences, various intelligences. To understand this, he says that a person can be naturalist who understands the living things and the nature completely. And what is important for us as a teacher to understand that individual with this kind of intelligence in future can become an astronomer, geologist, botanist, and biologist. Talking about musical intelligence, a person who is able to discern sound, their rhythm, the pitch, tone, etc. They can be a very good singer, composer, DJ, etc. Talking about a person who is bodily kinesthetic can become in future a very good dancer, athlete, surgeon, carpenter, physical therapist. Talking about the logical mathematical, a person who has good mathematical ability is able to quantify things, making hypotheses and proving them, this person can be a very good accountant, scientist, computer analyst. Talking about a person who is sensing people, or say feelings, he is sensing feelings and motives of the next person, can become in future a very good psychologist, teacher, and a salesperson. A person who is good at intrapersonal, developing intrapersonal relations, can be a very good entrepreneur, can be a good psychologist, and a therapist. Talking about a person who is good at languages, can be a lawyer, speaker, host, journalist, etc. A person who sees, or say visualizes the world in 3D, he or she can become a very good pilot, surgeon, and architect. So we need to understand here that any kind of specialty a person has is going to help him or her in the future. As a teacher, our duty is to hone that intelligence. So coming to the point, like how can the understanding of theory, of this theory in particular, which I have put forward here, that is, it helps in the self awareness and personal growth by providing a framework. Talking about like a person has to understand the limitation and develop a more well rounded sense of self. Now, the role of the teacher here is to make the child identify make the child identify, realize those, you can say, the intelligences, and actually help hone them in the future and help them become what they can be best. So, this was about the Howard Gardner theory. Now we will talk about another theory which has been given by Jean Piaget. He says that there are 4 stages of cognitive development. That is, at the age of, say, talking about his theory, let's understand. He says that 0 to 2 years, the sensory motor stage, where he is able to use the symbols, but he is not having language. Memory is short at this period. So that comes. Then this is continued with the age, that is 2 to 7 years. This is a preparational stage where he is able to have a language, speak, understand language, memory he gains, and he can imagine. Talking about the 2 to 11 years old individual, here he is able to develop more logical, and he is manipulative. He becomes manipulative at this age. Coming to the next, that is formal operational stage. This is now the child is of 12 years and up, which becomes formal operation. So what you can say, what kind of typical things he develops, that is, he is able to use symbols to relate to abstract concepts stage wise. So this is like, again, it is regarding that what needs to be taught in what way. Like, you must have observed that in lower classes we have, can say, the lessons with more of pictures, with colorful pictures. But as the child grows, it becomes like the pictures are lesser and the paragraphs are more, instructions are more. So this way, we are taking care of the education regarding this like growing age. And this is how it has been put up by the person. Talking about another theory, another person, that is, we take now here about the Rabindranath Tagore. He also says that the education should not be a kind of a rote learning, but it should be enjoyable. It should be talking about more of the music and creative. Education has to happen through dance, painting, drama. It's and it should foster creativity, joy, and emotional development. So, because that is how the mind, body, and spirit is going to develop, that is how the person is going to gain creative self expression. Talking about the Gandhiji, who supported the Nai Talim, he also says that it should be experiential learning. The child should be doing what he's learning. So he supports the development of hand, heart, and head. There has to be a balance between the physical work, the emotional development, the intellectual growth. So he is also like in the pursuit, he says that we need to cultivate full potential, or we need to cultivate ways where we can actually get the full potential of the person. So he is like saying that art could help in achieving the balance. That is what Gandhiji says. And he says that engaging in creative activities have helped in spiritual and emotional development of the individual. So it is actually the education is what by Gandhiji, that it is development of body, mind, and soul. So we come to our main agenda now. That is how do we convert the classroom into a dynamic classroom. That is, we need to enhance the classrooms because see the chapters more or less are same over the years, but the way we are taking them in the class can always be changed. So for this, we need to apply various strategies, which I'm going to discuss. So strategies for integration, talking about art-based warm-ups. Like we are going to begin the chapter. We can begin the chapter not by just reading, asking the child read, but we can introduce the chapter by the with the help of the mind maps. So we can ask the children to think and start because they will start the chapter not by say reading the chapter, just reading the chapter, but drawing a mind map for which the teacher should be asking leading questions which gives them the answers. Then coming to like thematic units. If we are into a certain history chapter or maybe science chapter, where we can ask them to bring certain clay material or maybe take up a page and draw a painting. So this kind of like to start to make the child sit at a place and be engaged in the activity, this kind of things can be taken up. So they have a small, it does not have to be a very big, but it can be a small activity and small, can say artifact. Then like creative expression. So with the help of drawing, painting or sculpture, see, depending upon the topic which you have with you, you can decide what is best, whether clay artifact can be made, whether a painting can be made, or whether like some matchsticks you have taken and you are drawing certain like diagrams, triangle, rectangle, whatever. So depending upon the age, depending upon the topic, you can decide what is best. Then like coming to project-based learning, like for grown-up children, it can be not just model making, but they can also take up certain thought-provoking discussions. Here I have mentioned like they can take up certain recycling, designing their eco-friendly inventions. You can just throw an idea in the class and ask them to do it and bring them back, which can be discussed in the class later on. Or as per the time permits in your class, you can decide it. So there are cross-disciplinary lessons. Like sometimes you must have seen that one chapter has certain reference in, say, science, also maybe in Hindi also, like talking about water cycle is actually done in science also. Water cycle in a way has a mention in Hindi poems also, like poems also. So it can be interdisciplinary, and you can just always talk to your parallel teachers and go ahead. This is what actually CBSE is also recommending. If you remember, we have interdisciplinary projects being mentioned by the CBSE. So here it can come to help, and your chapter will also go ahead in a way. So, talking about drawing, like I have taken here maths. Like when the children are drawing, they're actually their hands movements are there, the eye movements are there, and they have to be actually completely engrossed and engaged in the activity, which makes them sit at a place and learn the things in a proper way. So, to initiate the chapter, this can be done. Like I have given another example here, like having graphs, having diagrams. It is up to the subject, it is up to the teacher, depending upon the topic, time, it can be decided. Next, this is very important, which is CBSE is always emphasizing. So, talking about what? That is peer teaching. Peer teaching can be done like you have explained a part of the chapter, and then you can ask the one of the child, or you can just announce in the class that okay, this topic I have explained, and now you are going to explain it. This is how it can be done. This is one way of doing that. You have explained and then you take it up, you make the children do it, repeat it. That will give confidence to the children that they have understood. That is going to give confidence to you also as a teacher that whatever you have taught, the children have understood. So, one way. Second way is like one chapter can be just divided into parts, and then you tell them, okay, this chapter you are not going to teach, but the person, the individual, the child who has been given the particular part is going to explain. So this is one method which the CBSE is also expecting that teacher would take up in their classes. So collaborative art projects, like it can be like if there's a big project, it can be a group work. You give them, assign them task, and like which part who has to do. So this is going to help them develop a kind of team spirit and communication skills. So talking about the next, that is, we can always, because this is Gen Z generation, as I mentioned earlier, we have to and we should incorporate technology. Let them have their hands on the technology, and the project which they are going to prepare, like end can be done with the help of technology. Let it be like properly scripted and then managed in the form of, say, PowerPoint presentation. It can be some animation, which AI can be at help here. So it's now upon, like you can discuss amongst the children and how it has to be done. They are going to suggest. So let them come into the discussion and let them lead this project, this kind of project. You will see the kind of result you get. It is going to be the best. Now, next, that is field trips and guest artist. Like field trips can be arranged. Another one is somebody from a renowned person can be called to the school, and they can the person can speak, and a kind of discussion among them can happen, which is going to further enhance their like interaction ability, how to interact with a person who is not of your school outside. How do they interact? Let's check that. Then coming to the, like, as I mentioned, this drawing, mural, all these can be done to make the child understand. Depending upon the topic which you have taken up, it can be there. So talking about now, particularly like if you have a chapter. Now, I hear the teacher keeps saying that we have limitation of time, and we have limitation of the topic. Yes, I agree. I totally agree with that. That some, but part is that we don't have to bother about including including art for every chapter, but to make the, you can say, the chapters or the some of the chapters which are difficult, to make them understand, certain points can be taken care. Like I can just see here that begin the chapter with diagram and map, or it can be a flow chart. It can be like I have seen chemistry teachers making children learn the formula in a poem way. They have converted into poems, and then they are, or easy codes, which helps the child. It's because we know there are certain formulas like periodic table in chemistry has to be learned. There is no other way. So we actually give them an easy way to learn them. Then giving a situation to the child where he has to think out of the box. It's not given in the book, it is not mentioned anywhere, but the child is going to think his own way, her own way, and give you some result. As I mentioned, peer teaching, that expressing ideas can be done, and ask them to, like, when like it's rainy season going on, you can just tell them, okay, look out of the window and observe and tell me what do you see. So these kinds of thing can be done, because basically what are we trying to do? We are ensuring that child uses all the sensory organs, which is very important, like hands for drawing and making models, brain for brainstorming and thinking, eyes for observation, tongue to speak, which is going to further enhance their speech abilities, nose to smell minutest change in the atmosphere. So these are the various ways in which we can ensure that we see the changes, we see the lesson plan which is being taken in a proper way. Teachers have posted the feedback link in the chat box. You can just check and fill it. And I'll just open up, I'll unmute everybody so that we can have discussion. Just give me a minute.
Ma'am, just I wanted to tell you.
Wait. Now.
Ma'am,
Now you can begin.
okay. I wanted to tell you that you have done such a hard work to find out which student is doing what. Means some students have good quality in observing, so they should go to biology or scientist, like that. You have found out all the types of, means a student having this type of quality will get into this kind of work, or what they can become later. So that was really very helpful, and all other slides are also very informative and very useful for us. Means I am very much happy that you have talked about that interdisciplinary part, that we can share with other teachers, so that we can, means they can understand in much better way. So thank you so much, ma'am, for this.
Okay. As
And
you,
if
ma'am,
you,
as you suggested, you wanted to see the slide. I will just open the slide again for you. Just give me a minute. I'm just coming to it. Yes, here you can see this is the slide which
yes,
I was talking about. I'll just pull down
yes,
here so that you can see it completely. And I have noted down on my, actually when I spoke, I was speaking from my pages also, which I have noted down. Like it says, naturalist. Okay, naturalist
yes,
can become astronomer, geologist, botanist, and biologist.
yes, yes,
Talking
ma'am. This
about,
was really, really very informative.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, like my musical intelligence, the person can become singer, composer, DJ. Talking about like bodily kinesthetic. So a person can be a good doctor, athlete, surgeon, carpenter, and physical therapist. Talking about a person who is having like logical and mathematical abilities, a person can become a good accountant, scientist, computer analyst. Only thing is we have to identify and we need to help them like in that field, in that area. Talking about interpersonal, a person who has interpersonal abilities can become a good psychologist, can go into public relations. Nowadays, they are like, I heard about one university which is in Gujarat, Ahmedabad, and run by the government, which is giving like solely, you can say, courses in international relations. So these children can go for that. Talking about intrapersonal, like a person can be good entrepreneur, psychologist, and therapist. And talking about person who has command over languages can be a lawyer, speaker, host, and journalist. Talking about like a person who has ability, special ability, which you can see in the slide, it is represented. So these people can be good pilots, surgeon, and architects. So this is how it is, and I really liked it. I wanted it to be there on the like in the show in the workshop. This is the best part I liked about this Howard Gardner, and I was reading, which I would like to mention here. Initially, this theory put forward by Howard was criticized. Like, how can a person have multiple intelligence? Not possible. But then over the period of years, like there are no means to calculate or measure, so to say. But over the period of years, it has been taken up in education. Like as a teacher, we should be knowing about this particular theory, and we should go into details also. You can just check on the websites, it's available. Like how now recently we have taken up this theory, and when like talking about the NEP, when it is talking about like honing the multiple intelligences amongst the children, they are putting stress. So that is how it is. Anybody else who would like to add up here? Otherwise, then we end up. It was nice hearing from you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, then,
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
yes, Pranamita, ma'am.
Yes, these multiple intelligence theories are now is implementing in all sectors of education, and NEP new education policy as not is going to nurturing the thing of multiple intelligence theory among the students, and
Mhm.
those who are take art subject, they can also take a subject from the science, and
Yes,
also
you're right. Because they will
in
be, we
music.
know. Very good, ma'am. Thank you so much. It was nice. Like, yes, because when we talk about nowadays, the NEP says it will not be like a narrow way. It will not be
Yes,
stream humanities or it will not be stream PCM, but it is a person who is studying physics can also take up history if
yes,
the person is interested in. Yes, ma'am. Very good too. Like, thank you so much. You mentioned it here. This should not be ignored.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am,
Thank you,
for
ma'am.
sharing this
Thank you.
kind of.
Thank you so much. It was nice because it has to be in not one way because we are actually
Yes.
learning. This is what is expected. So it was a very nice session and hearing from you all. It was very nice. Thank you so much.
From your side, it is very interesting topic you have chosen, and we are enriched by your topic.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
So, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.